win, then they are clear. They are secured at the top. Good luck, have fun from Onigiri.
It's the most extensive good luck, have fun I've seen.
That's nice.
It is nice. I'm just saying that normally we just get GLHF, you know, the low effort version of it. So
well, I mean, wouldn't you be riding high right now? You've just secured yourself out of groups. You've been able to
say, you know, they know that as well. They know that they get to stay for another couple of days. 3 at least.
At least.
It depends on whether or not they end up in a lower bracket and get first rounded, or if they continue from there on. I mean,
that's a way of putting it. If they get first rounded, then they'll go home sooner. Yeah, that's a way of saying it. But you know, they've been able to get yourself in a good place. They join a sort of growing list of teams that are secured, and in this group, that's the 3rd team that's secured now.
There you go, and that means it's only up between BDS and Dark Zero. And then that one clutch that BDS wasn't able to put down on the board in the Train Museum might be more important than you think at the end of the day. But hey, we're headed towards the bar first. Grab a drink and a seat, as we are about to get started with the very first round of the very second map.
Bar Cocktail. And as you said, this was actually the site of a recent sort of heartbreaking moment for BDS. They almost won their series against Dark Zero, and imagine how different today would have been if they'd have had those extra points under their belt, or that extra point even. When you're looking at how close it was...
It's also one taken away from DZ.
Yeah.
So it's basically 2 extra points of DZ, you could say.
It was within 0.5 seconds. Maybe extra was all BDS needed there to secure the bullets to connect. And it swung around. It was inside train. It was a last sort of gasp swing into a fight, and it was bitterly close. And it was bitterly close when they were playing with BIOS, when they were playing without, obviously, Rafal. So, they are an astute team on this map. They do have experience on this map. They have a deep pool, and when you're looking at where we end up now on the final one being Chalet, I believe. The last one is in the showdown.
It is going to be the final showdown if we manage to get that far, because Elevate are on the defense first here on Kafe. It is a map that BDS is quite good at, we dare to say. You know, they manage to get quite some success here every now and then. They just need to find a little bit more here right now, because there is a lot on the line. And even if Dark Zero will win the map against TSM just in a couple of seconds or minutes, they won't know until after their own game. So they will still think that there is everything to play for here, and to some extent there still is. They want to go out with a win at least.
So the start of the approach here, all the way over the top. They're looking to see if they can prep and push towards that pixel corner. LMs hasn't been able to catch anybody as of yet. The Twitch drone is working its way underneath. They're going to get the clarity on that corner bar. Rafal is looking for something, and did you hear that?
No, what was it? I heard something that Medic said, but...
Oh, I did. And that is...
Spoiler alert?
This is a spoiler alert, and this is a pretty big one.
Oh, all right.
But this is probably one that a lot of people might want to hear.
Okay.
Spoiler alert.
I'm gonna sit down for this one. You said it's a big one. All right, I'm seated.
Map 1.
Okay. Don't tell me it's true.
Easy to
Is it DZ?
DZ to...
Oh, BDS is eliminated from the 6th Invitational, and they don't even know it yet, but at least they started strong on this map. It is LMs with the opening kill here to start it off. Grenades are being still tossed in, and Elevate still has a strong backline as well. It's Napew with the Alda that is just waiting, standing by, looking to at least make sure that they make a dent into the side of BDS after they just got their entry.
Wow, BDS. I am unfortunate to be the herald here to say that this is it. The road is over, and it was an unfortunate end to a year that was very powerful and promising. They've still got a game to play ahead of them, though. They've still got to play this, their final one of SI, and it's the push down towards the backside of White. LMs is looking for the rest of the fight here with Onigiri already off the board. They have the man advantage, and Nave's in a position to maybe buy it back. That Alda can cover pretty much all the movements he needs to make, but there's a reveal, there's a catch. Perfectly played. DCH was caught out, and they don't try and swing for the refrag. That allows LMs to move his way up As soon as they found out the body was off the board, they're going to swing in close, pre-fires the angle, and put themselves into the 3 versus 1 situation. Nay's doing everything, but it's not quite enough. The first goes away.
The first goes away, and it's a very clean round on the side of BDS. Some smiles actually on the faces there, but also the focus still being there. I have no clue yet what just happened to them. And they won't know until the end of the game.
Bias was shaking his head there.
He probably doesn't know. I mean, there's no way they get that information. And they might hear people scream, but are you going to be able to tell who was screaming in that case?
It depends how well they know each other.
That's very true.
If I hear Dez screaming, I'm like, that's Dez. And we often hear that because he's only like 5 feet away.
That is true. But normally we hear Ace screaming. That is...
Yeah, but it's a rocky situation. And it's one of the ones where they've just got to, you know, you'll always have to play your games out regardless. There's always teams that don't make it, and Elevate have put up a great fight today.
They definitely have.
And I think that's the thing, is that, you know, at the end of the day, there's a reason that they're able to, like, sort of put in. And you can never take away from the performance that the teams are being put in. And this series obviously still has its way to go. Elevate, as we said, they still could be contenders for that top of the board, especially if TSM is starting to potentially drop points, maybe even more, as they'll be going in, obviously, to the rest of the series on the DZ side. They might even leave with none at this point. But here's our focus. Here is where it has to cook itself together, and it's going to be the extension underneath as Elevate prep themselves for that mid-floor hold.
The mid-floor hold coming through. Reading is the site. BDS will have to go for yet another attack. Now, as they're eliminated, doesn't mean that there's no point anymore in this matchup. Elevate still has something to play for. They still want to be in the top 2 at the end of the day here. The question will be, are they going to reach that? A 2-0 victory surely will be helpful. And if they continue like they started off during map 1, where of course they managed to get 6 rounds in a row, and after that 3 KO, Shaiko managed to confirm it. We're able to win that map 7-2. So that also started off with a very clean take at BDS, where they were able to overrun the Elevate members. So if that is going to repeat itself, you might find yet another very quick map coming through. Either way, utility looking to be taken out here by Shaiko. Is the evil eye, the bubble that gets spotted out. Grenades are being tossed out right after. I'm not quite sure. Nope, they didn't have him. Not quite sure where either of those pieces of utility landed in the end. Now it has been taken out, however, so 3rd time's the charm. Proximity sensor be scanning out. It's not going to be the important part. The player that's out around the corner now has taken the bar under his control is going to be the important part here for the Elevate hold.
That's it, the pressure starts to find its way around here. They're looking for any of the control on the backside. Nay is doing everything he can, but DCH is actually the one that opens it up. Ranchiro gets taken out of the equation here, and they're slightly shaken up, but Onigiri is about to make a very loud sound. That gun does not have the biggest amount of range, but pretty much all the kick that could possibly come through. Nay, next off, and DCH with a great take from the top of Lumber. Can't quite escape, though. Onigiri pulls himself out. He's not going to sit around and get dropped as they hand over that vertical control and see if they can find somewhere else. The bubble gets pinged, not popped yet, but Shaiko is setting himself up instead for the fight there against the Ella. It slips all the way through, all the hot intel, and there it is. The gun that goes bang. And it's able to absolutely tear up the floorboards and the player above them, Shaiko, removed.
Like we can open up the flooring, so can we. Using that shotgun to just strike back at the player still at that top floor. Bride will pick up Nerex, however, so that is going to be a player on the side of Elevate removed. Still Onigiri on low HP. Has to be very careful with how and where he approaches. One C4 available on the side of Sapper. Flashbangs and smokes are being tossed in. Bride wants to go for a flank, but there he comes around the corner. A little bit of damage done, but not quite enough. And Onigiri is picked up right as the stuns came through, and the plant now on the way as well. Sapper needs to try and make something work. A shotgun comes over, and there's the C4, but it sticks and it gets shot out. This is a 1v2 clutch situation right now. Little he will be able to do. Potentially try and stick, go for the first 5, but he doesn't know. Bride was on the left, right behind the pillar. And it's BDS to pick up their second map.
Second map?
Second round. Sorry.
Whoa.
Whoa. Whoa. Second round. No worries. Or a lot of worries, actually, if a BDS fan, because they're out. Sorry, spoiler alert.
I mean, you...
Closure 10 seconds ago.
Yeah, I was going to say, we've already said that a couple of times. Kitchen service. We head down to, and let's see if they can try and find something here. Elevate, they haven't quite been able to have the same consistency that they had, obviously, on their defenses on the previous map, because, well, they had pretty much all of them on the previous map. It was a 5-1 on the turn of the halves. The BDS have already improved on the takes before, and obviously Kafe is not their map pick, but it's a good map for BDS. I think that's the sort of play right now, is the maps that were in this selection, they generally could have gone both ways. They're generally ones that both teams had some capabilities of.
Alrighty, round 3 soon underway. The kitchen will be the site, the area where we will fight. Whereas Elevate is looking to find themselves a way of course, pushing themselves through, trying to find a win. BDS is trying to continue their current streak. 2 rounds. They have, they're looking for more. They want to take Kafe by storm and put up some more points onto their table. It's going to be their goal. At least finish with a win at the end of the 6th Invitational. I mean, they've had...
That's a lot of salvation stations.
That is the thing we need to get the
I think all
US
three,
casters to say.
All 3 were tucked in there behind the little half wall. It's a little field hospital, as Medics has just said into our ears, and maybe that's what I'm going to call it. When all of them are together, you have a little field hospital, get yourself picked back up. It's a place where you could instantly run through, and suddenly you are absolutely
back to
full HP. It's a very quick and strange method of being able to pull it together, but, well, it's a method nonetheless. Alems is looking down the far side from the Christmas door towards pillars. He's going to see if he can try and put an engagement in. Ney is kind of eyeing up the idea of popping it outside, and, well, it's Shaiko opening it up there. DCH is knocked off the board.
Another opening kill there for the side of BDS, and as Rafal continues to drone out, this first floor will shortly be removed of any camera and any living being down there as well. There's, of course, none on the side of Elevate. Everybody left on the side is, we will call it the field hospital strategy. Still standing, but just a single grenade could just take them all out, which is, I guess, the worry about it.
C4 pops up, no real reward right now. They're going to see if they can try and get anything through the angles, and that's what a lot of this site is shepherding holes and seeing if you can just get the ankles or the toes of somebody a little bit wide of the chassis. It's fired pretty heavily behind it, but Lems can't quite get the proper catch on anybody really connected. Shaiko, in the meantime, is able to make a little bit of work here. Down, finds a double, 4-2-1, and suddenly he started to pop off. He's turning into a little bit of the animal, but only really when it's a little bit too late. Sapper, he opens up a rotation and angle and ducks under the hellfire that's seemingly raining in from multiple different angles. They've got themselves set up with a lot of time. They're knocking on the doors of the site.
For sure. Minute left on the clock, however, that means BDS needs to speed up, and it's exactly what they do. Shaka gets a kill, 2 men drop through that hatch. They want to get that plant in and underway, and it's going to be right behind the bomb chassis. Nagiri rotates back, tries to watch up top, is afraid of any potential verticality to go underway, but they hears that the plant's going down, and when Shiro takes his head clean off, it's only up to Nerix now. Some pre-fires are coming through, and the plant just goes through as a flawless round for BDS hits, and suddenly they are back. Suddenly, BDS is starting to shine. It is just unfortunately way too late. And with that, it is going to be BDS leading 3-0 right now as they continue their winning streak here on Kafe. They continue to surprise Elevate, pick up these roamers, lock them down, go for the drop as they realize where the weak points are, and get that plan down. It's the second one in 3 rounds. Even though in the end, of course, the kill came in literally 0.1 second right after, but it counts. And we'll give them that.
3-0. BDS putting in the best performance all tournament so far, and obviously they can still try and pull themselves some points here. They can still try and do some of the work. It's a little bit of a swan song towards the end of it. It's going to start across here on the top. And they knew the pressure was coming into this game, and I think they were well aware that if they didn't lock it off on the full thing, the chances were slim regardless of whether they knew the result elsewhere. Here, Elevate, they haven't quite been able to have the same holes they had before, and whether they're more confident on the other side or not, whether they think that their attack is going to be the sharpness that allows them to fully stretch this map, they are still playing for the potential of all of the points that are on play. They've got the castle hold, they've got themselves with that extension. I assume we might get one, obviously, on that connector between piano. There it is, yep. Excuse me.
Excuse you. Sorry, I'll take over if you need.
I would appreciate that. I breathed in whilst talking.
Okay.
That apparently isn't what humans are supposed to do.
No, that apparently doesn't go quite well if air comes out of the throat and air goes in at the same time. Somehow that doesn't work out well. Either way, as you quickly recuperate yourselves, BDS are looking to go for a bit of the same, you know? They just lost that first map quite convincingly, 7-2. So what do you do then? You respond with a even better score. They're working towards it at least. It's a 3-0. Just had a flawless roundup on that board, and as they continue opening up all the windows, taking out all the pieces of utility, currently nothing really that Elevate can do. The bubble at least takes care of one of the Twitch drones. Rafal wants to get a second in, but he also knows it's quite dangerous because that bubble can just open up again and just get another zap in. Are they aware of it? Is going to be the question. Now, tries to get a zap out on a bit of a range right here. Rafal wants to make sure that he doesn't get zapped right as soon as he goes for it. There's a player out there now as well. That's going to be called out. There's going to be some valuable information, but Shaiko, however, gets down and confirmed. And Sapper gets the entry for Elevate.
Well, there's that Maestro cam gone, and there's Onigiri still playing inside this very aggressive position. There's the reveal of Rafal. They're pinging absolutely everything out, and they finally have the connection with the player inside. There is still one lurking just underneath in Zulu currently. They might be able to rotate themselves into train if they wanted by the looks of it. No, instead they're opting for the pillar side. The swing up potentially to the hatch, but the drop drone and the cover means that, well, their cover's gone, so they're just a bit of a waste of time, and they can't quite get that full swing. They've just got to try and waste the time. Breeder over the top is burning open, some openings there for Renshiro to be able to bounce that back and take care of any utilities just behind the chassis itself.
For sure. Trying to push through right now, and the Twitch drones come in as well. See if there's any more utility that Rafal's going to be able to get rid of. But the Switch drone gets taken out instead. It's a 4-on-4. BDS, they have won all around so far and are looking to push through even further. A man in the freezer, a man right underneath the skylight, hiding quite well. I believe that is with an Alda behind one of the bars as well. Napiu in a prime position to start striking deep into the hearts of BDS and their fans, as Lems is looking to debate whether or not to push into that wide hallway towards the stairs and the planks and potentially hit from the side. As the drone calls out, it's quite clear no one out there currently, which should allow him to move on.
Lems is going for a bit of a cheeky swing round, finds one, gifted, and suddenly the call will come through that they've been able to take over the top of white. DCH, that was your job to try and watch that now, and as Renshiro locks it off and Lems gets one more, it's suddenly BDS absolutely swarming that site, taking it and taking their fourth in a row.
All the pressure is off. They might not know it, they might do, and I don't know. But suddenly BDS plays so well here on Kafe, and we have a tactical timeout to be called by Elevate. Of course, no, they are confirmed, but they still want to get as many points in as they possibly can, because that way they will find themselves potentially in that top 2 at the end of the group stages, which of course will be tomorrow. BDS is the only team that will not be playing anymore at that stage. At that time, might use the time actually to scrim some more with the teams that are still here, as they wouldn't pose a threat anymore to any of the other teams. And they can get some good practice in, some international practice extra. Maybe not as much as they would have hoped, considering they surely thought they would be able to progress any further. But it's a good start for EUL.
I think that's it here right now. That's the sort of situation we're sitting in, is for all the work that goes into SI, it's a year's worth of work, but there's a year's worth of siege that is otherwise all around, and you got to prep for what else is coming. And it's in some people's books the full stop at the end of a year. In ours, at least generally is, but also because it's the first big event of siege in the year, some people have it as their opener. That trip in February around the world's worth of siege to see really who is sort of saying 2022, that's our year. That's the year of us. We're going to plant the flag at the beginning, and it's up for everybody else to try and climb towards it throughout the rest of the year. I mean, it's still a statement. Kitchen service is where we're going to head to next. Back down to the bottom, and, well, to be fair, they had free reign of every site. Will this tack timeout be the one that's able to at least get them and net them something on the defense?
They did have the entry kill in that previous round, but not enough to eventually lead to a round. Of course, quickly traded out due to the information game of the Twitch drone, which led to that trade to come through quite cleanly. And afterwards, it's just a 4-on-4. Basically, the round starts all over again. Just both sides lost a bit of utility here and there. 4-0 on the board right now. BDS has been doing quite well here in Kafe. Surely they would have hoped to do that on a previous map, Clubhouse. Wanting to close that one with a win, that would have at least kept them in the running. But if we haven't said it enough yet, there's still to play for here on Elevate's side, and so does BDS. They want to close with a win. You do not want to go out with just a singular point.
Ney is setting up just a couple of ways to pull the drone game, which, to be fair, has been very, very good. And that's also the adaptation we're getting in the hands of Onigiri. They're looking to see if they can stretch the intel that has otherwise been absolutely razor sharp here from BDS. They've been able to keep hurling the players out of any of the positions and places they've thought they were comfortable in. Solidified and safe. There's a disagreement here from the sides and the guns of BDS. It's a bit of a direct line. The smoke canister to cover the Habana pellets is a little bit clever, but it's the spray through. Onigiri, he's caught them all. He went by the audio. That gives them a little bit of safety and pulls himself away with those wiggly lines. He's up and off and out of there. Will they go for a second? It seems like it, but this time it's an actual grenade that is burnt and burst on the door itself.
Yeah, it's going to be combo on my disc, so unfortunately will not be able to go deep and take out any PC utility. They decide to not actually go for a set of Excaras onto that wall right now. There is, in the meantime, a little bit of pressure coming down from the side of Prep. Nerek's now at the rotation as well, looking to put up some pressure onto BDS. And this is the way how they want to play it. The grenade comes in quite deep. It won't quite hit as much as they would like to. Another grenade will be tossed in by the side of Shaiko, right behind the cupcake bar, and it's Nerek's with the entry kill. He does go quite low. However, a shotgun on the close range as well. Sepper needs to rotate out soon due to the Excaras being deployed on his wall. And his fights are coming out elsewhere as well. It's Onigiri looking to go aggressive.
That's it. He's knocking on the door here, and he's got the chance of a swing. Nerek's in the meantime gets one, and Renshiro gets another inside the site. He's buried himself all the way through. Onigiri, you got to do something sooner rather than later, and you find it. But they're planting. 3 versus 2. They have a little bit of cover here, and Breeday's going to make sure he sticks it all the way. There's the fight on Coat that goes Renshiro's way. A triple for him this round alone. And they're stacked up either side. The concern is Onigiri here. He pops up and gets popped down. Renshiro for his quad here. Driving and thriving all the way for the ace. Doesn't quite get the connection. A 1 versus 1, and the pings are consistent all the way through. But Breeday puts BDS 5 rounds up.
Renshiro 4K. Unfortunately for him, not allowed to go for the ace, but he won't mind about that, I think. As long as he gets that 4K to win the round, it's all that matters. And even though the pings were coming through, there was a pretty hefty pre-fire actually coming down from the Roni there on Napiu. Lost most of the bullets out there. I'm not quite sure how many he had left, if we get to see it. 4 bullets. Of course, it could be enough to get that kill. If he hit 2 of them, he would have been dead. If it was 1 in the head, same thing would be the case. But BDS currently up 5-0, looking to hunt onto a clean half here. And as we're heading back towards the reading room on the side of Elevate, it is BDS who is trying to find that very final round, put up that full 6 as well. And a clean sweep onto the first half. As Elevate still looking for their first. The question is, will they find it in this half or will they find it in the next?
That's it. The drive has come all the way here. Elevate haven't been able to find a single part of this. And will this be a repeat of what they put against BDS on the opening map? Or are they going to do even worse at this point? Is the kind of question that's hanging over. BDS might look set up and primed to be able to get an absolutely flawless opening attacking half. And it's just that sort of moment, isn't it?
It's so weird, right? The team gets eliminated and then proceeds to go 5 rounds in a row without any trouble, so it seems. It's not something you would expect. But, you know, BDS is looking to hunt for a 3rd map here. They're looking to make this Kafe a quick one and go over to Chalet. We'll find out whether or not they'll succeed in doing so. 3 plants so far on the board for BDS. 3 entry kills as well, 2 on the side of Elevate. And 1 flawless round to end it up with. Currently all the stats in favor of BDS if you hadn't noticed yet by the scoreline.
Elevate, are you going to be able to try and find something else here? Sapper hasn't been able to find anything in this game as of yet, and to be fair, Rafal's not phasing much better, but the fact that Bride has not died at this moment, and I'm sorry if I've just put that curse on you, but you're looking at Shaiko and Alems and Renshiro, especially having performances that they just haven't been able to muster at all, and there he is, Shaiko, popping off once again finding this aggression and this impact on this early game, and it's this sort of team that we're used to seeing play like this that just haven't been able to, obviously, get that going this tournament so far. Alems is waiting for a push over the top. They know that the pressure's coming just on the door of the side itself. Nerix is potentially about to be overwhelmed and absolutely whelmed by everything that might come through. They're droning out the player on the balk above. They're seeing how much pressure they can apply here onto the pillar's wall. It's quad and it's fortunately muted for them. Will that one be broken open? It will. A bit of width, and look at all those salvation stations. Take them in, because in a couple of seconds,
one taken out.
One is gone.
And this is enough to get a grenade around the corner to make sure that that mute jammer will pop and it can open up even further to ensure that that bookcase is no longer playable. Actually, from above, some verticality to come through on the side of Renshiro, trying to find the angle here is Nerix. His position now is completely exposed by the fact that he's being wallbanged as well, as it's a double kill for Alems, one through the flooring as well. The side is now in the hands of BDS. Sapper trying to fight back, take some fire all the way through from the pillar side of things. DCH from above is the last man standing. Is BDS going to get the plant, the entry, and the flawless round? No, not the plant, but the flawless will still be there. It's BDS with a clean sweep here on that first half. It is so bittersweet.
It's a bit bittersweet, right? It's not just me feeling that.
No,
I'm sure it's not just the players feeling that. You can see they're sort of sat with a bit of frustration on their faces, because they know that this is how they could have, should have, and would have performed potentially throughout all of the groups. And I know that obviously not just BDS fans, but everybody out there knew that. It wasn't a surprise. This score is a bit surprising on the guns of Elevate not being able to pull a round, sure. But this performance from BDS, isolating it entirely from the score itself, how BDS are playing right now is what everybody expected from this tournament.
Exactly.
And to get it is bittersweet, because we get it, we get to see it.
It is there, it's just not when it matters. And that as you said, it's so bittersweet. It's like, we're casting this right now as well. We know they're gone, they're out. And they put it the best performance of the tournament at that moment in time. A 7-0. I don't know how many we've seen so far in 6 invitational maps. I think we've seen one before that happened. This is about to be putting up the second one. The team that is the first team to be eliminated from the 6 invitational is about to 7-0. A team that is confirmed for playoffs. It's kind of a odd comparison. It's like everything is tilted.
I think that's it, but it is what it is, and that's the moral of the story. Is everything that is going on right now is the way it is. So we've just got to sort of go with it. BDS might be able to lock out this map in quick fashion right now. They're sort of under the pressure here from the top. Worth reminding you all that this is Elevate's map. They've taken their tack time out after 4 rounds went away from them. They're going to see if they can try and fire the pressure here onto this, their first attack, their first opening. They're getting a bit of an idea of where all the players are, and the play against the Intel game as well. It's something that we pointed towards before, that Elevate tried to swing into at the end of that, but here with the Mozzie and the mute stretch all the way up and the consistent movement that we're getting from the BDS players, they're trying to cause as many problems as possible. The site is down on the ground. We still have players on the top floor. Alems is looking for a bit of an adventure with the Jaeger. He's going to see if he can try and, I guess, cause as many problems, because if he goes unchecked, well, it's just a matter of falling down onto the heads of the approachers.
Definitely is, and he was debating a jump out there, possibly, but calling to go for it in the end there. And there's a bit of an entry from Napu all around the mining engine here. Will be opening up vertically onto the side. This is potentially where Alems comes in. His opportunity to rotate around. The calls are coming out, however, Rafal, his position will be given away. They know now one is inside reading, and as the hunt is commencing, Alems is looking to rotate around quickly to potentially help. It's Nick that will be getting the entry frag. Elevate find yet another But they need to find more than that. They need to find that round. And with 70 seconds left on the clock and ELV still out on about, trying to find these kills here and there, that's going to be a big risk right here. I believe he might have been spotted out by a drone from DCH. No, actually, it's a different spot to come through onto VIP. There is a swing in right there. It's ELV that misses the opportunity to go for the kills. Deals a lot of damage. 2 of them now down onto 1 HP as DCH picks up yet another kill as well. It's still not over for BDS. They can still put a 7-0 on the board.
More calls come through. They know he's playing on the stairs position, and obviously Ney is massively injured at this point. ELV's just looking to try and scratch it. Sapper, who is even more injured. Shaika goes down, though. In the meantime, it's a 5 versus 2. The first fight doesn't get fully checked. There it is. Somehow doesn't get the connection. Bit of a blow there. ELV couldn't quite find it. Renshiro is just a singular back line, and it doesn't look like it's going to be a 7-0. No, it's not. It's a 6-1. There's still a lot more left for them to be able to do here, but Elevate, they've been able to get the first. It's a matter of just seeing how many more they can thread together here. Can they improve on the 7-2 that was otherwise dealt to them, or can they do even better and lock it out?
That's it. Can they lock it out here? Are they going to be able to bring it back, get to 6-6, go to OTE, and close it out here on BDS? It'll be an incredible comeback. We have definitely seen it before, but still, to do it against a team that has nothing to lose is always a bit different. They play a lot looser normally. It's just a question whether or not they have known yet or not. Elevate, they definitely know they are confirmed, and that might be actually why this map seems to be a bit more one-sided. It's that tension of we need 1 point that has flown off their shoulders. They know we are confirmed. Yes, there is still a lot to play for, but we are staying in Sweden for at least a couple of extra days right here. That is going to be what is going through Elevate's heads right now as well. And where they were a team that no one wanted to scrim, I'm pretty sure they're going to be able to get some appointments in for the coming days. And Team BDS, well, sadly, they will have to look forward towards the European League Stage 1 of 2022, where they hope to qualify for a major yet once more and start their road to the 6th Invitational yet once more. As this one is one to quickly forget.
The Rook back once again. We've seen him pop his head up a couple times during this tournament, more than he has recently. You know, it's always down to how the players like to build themselves up. It gives you some protection from the pretty hefty grenade game as one part of this play, alongside the salvation stations put down by Thunderbird. You're able to at least potentially pick yourself up. So it's, you know, maybe it's a combination expecting a game style, maybe it's just a way that you feel a little bit more confident with. Otherwise, it's still a nice gun in the right hands as well.
That's it. I mean, it is extra XP, HP, not XP.
XP?
Yeah, there's XP now. Did you not know? Oh. I mean, I guess I spoiled it. I think it's coming in the Year 7 reveal. Either way, it's extra HP. You get that nice gun with a zoom scope on it as well, as Renshiro tries to go effective. But you know, you also get that mechanic where you cannot be instantly killed by a bullet unless it's to the head. So you always have that DB&O. And the same goes for grenades as Ney finds yet another entry kill for Elevate.
Lems suffers there. Shaiko's buried in a pretty dangerous spot. Can't quite get the right catch there as Ney's able to rotate their way through and take control of White. Rafala's waiting for somebody to pop their head through, and as the Banshee starts to call out, the drone is already revealing.
What a shot.
Well, Renshiro is becoming a perfect take onto that player, and suddenly they've been able to get themselves between 2 more. There's the back of Kaida. Triple for Ney, who has gone entirely unchecked here. Shaiko hasn't moved, because he's not entirely sure when or where he's supposed to go at this point. They've just been able to clear their way across the top with the drone intel giving it. The call is going to come out. That will give a little bit of a reveal on the positioning potential. And there it is, another takeover of the cams. They've been able to get everything. They should have all of that intel on the remaining 2 players at this point, stacked up, apart from maybe Shaiko, who hasn't moved yet.
Here's someone walking, knows one is upstairs. If he stands up, he can just take a head clean off. It's a C4, however, that does it. And that is going to be, look at that, the diffuser case on the ground, up on the top floor with Shaiko still around. And that might actually, oh, he drops where he didn't know, of course, because he never saw it. And that means he will be picked up by Onigiri. He had the opportunity there to play the case if he checked it, but did not expect it to be down there. And that will be another round here for the side of Elevate. They're starting to fight back. It is suddenly 6-2 after the 6-0 clean sweep from Team BDS. And now the big question will be, are we seeing 4 more match points falling away in favor of Elevate, where they push us to OT and potentially take it from there on? Or is this going to be the moment where BDS will lock it out in any of these next couple of rounds?
Well, here we are now, technically equal to the amount of rounds the BDS were able to get on the previous map, and they've started to shut down a little bit, unfortunately for them. They haven't quite been able to have the same energy that they had when they were the ones setting the pace here. Elevate, the way that they moved and manipulated the space across the top there. Shaiko missed that early swing over. He couldn't quite get the body on Cigar. He wasn't quite quick enough to be able to get that pull, and instead that player then drove himself and found a couple more, found the 2 more kills either side, and then drove themselves down towards the site itself. It was that tip of the spear that they didn't quite have a handle on. And although Sapper isn't quite digging into this game, if you're having Ney, if you're having Onigiri start to pop off like that, it might turn into more of a consistent problem. It's still just a single round. It's still just a single separation of BDS being able to either run the clock out or run the players of Elevate out, and it just needs to happen on one site for them to get themselves a point and move on to that final map for the chance at taking the series. And at this point, just pulling stuff out of Elevate.
There's definitely it. And Elevate right now, you know, you say Sapper really hasn't been able to get into it yet, but none of Elevate were able to get into it yet in those first 6 rounds. Only now they've just started to play Siege a little bit more effectively, and it seems that BDS is a little bit out of it themselves as well, because if you looked at that, Ney being able to walk in, get 2 kills, and then a third one is just putting his back towards him. That's not something you do see very often from a team like BDS. Now, 6-2, still map points here for Team BDS. If they win this one, we're headed over to Chalet, where they have the opportunity to get their very first win of a matchup on the board. Whereas Elevate, of course, they want to try and bring it back to OT and close it off here to get the full 3 points. That is what they have on the line here.
Utilizing that hefty DMR to pop themselves open a hatch. DCH is waiting for somebody to maybe swing around and try and get aggro on anyone that might be dangling. And to be fair, BDS, they can toy with that game, but they've seemed a little bit placid over the past couple rounds. There was the chance of some rotation, but usually at that point, Elevate's already got themselves in a position to watch out for it and lock it in. They're steadily droning their way around. They're trying to see if they can get a handle on anyone that bounced grenade dropped down to remove any of the potential utility. Just hopped underneath, potentially Banshees or Jammers. No bubbles this time, no Maestro in the pockets of them, but it's a caution, and it's a steady bit of slow burn towards that hefty utility.
Now it is that top floor, which means you do not necessarily have to clear out the first and second floor. You could go for a completely horizontal take here, just a little bit of worry, of course, for potential nitros to come through. None of them, however, on the board for the side of BDS, and that means that, you know, the best you can technically get out of your verticality, or from the second floor, is that verticality. But it's not there. There is no buck to use, but there is going to be an entry frag for the side of Ney yet once more. It's Elevate that keep opening up so far, and DCH is about to get a second on the board as Shaiko takes a lot of damage, and a grenade will be tossed in to try and finish him off right there. He will be finished off, not by the Ney, but by DCH's gun instead, and the push seems to be coming in right here. Ney already in quite deep, trying to challenge the freezer. With 50 seconds left on the clock, it's only 3 men of BDS standing.
BDS is locked in right now. Ney with a huge take there across the side of Renshiro. They're popping up to get some revenge, and they find it, but it's just the Lems left, spraying desperately. Elevate with a third in a row. They are still sitting on map point, but that distance has gotten halved over the past 3. They are a little bit more clued into exactly how BDS wants to take this, who haven't felt like they need a timeout at this point, but there it is. They're going to have a moment to talk right now.
All right, calm. They want to make sure that they end this game, or map rather, as quickly as they possibly can. They want to have this map win. They want to go to a map 3. They want to put a win on the board. As we're in that tactical pause right now, Bias, the man who had to step in for Rafal as he was unable to play for a while, is the man who's now sitting behind him right now. He was a big motivational factor during those games. He was actually tied for most clutches up until the moment Rafal came back. And now he's standing right behind him, trying to do the best he can from his coaching position. But will it be enough? Always going to be the question. Are they going to be able to lock it off now and then push over to Chalet to do the exact same again? Go for that strong start. Try and lock it off earlier.
I think that's the thing right now is, you know, they just need to find that one. They need to have that one connection, and the energy is low. And I think that's the thing about that sort of setup there. And to be fair, even when they were taking the rounds handily on their attacks, the energy was still a bit low. It didn't have the passion of a team.
Of course not.
Knows they're still fighting for something, and that's sort of that moment is they want to play, and they want to put on a bit of a show. They want to put on a bit of a story about how they were playing, and they threaded together a perfect attack half. You don't have to say much more than that, but locking it out, pulling a win at least, and giving yourself some semblance of a fight on your final day, it's a wave out the door.
It is. And it's an unfortunate one. But there is still a game to be played. It's still a game to be finished right here on the 4th game of the day in the Bravo stream. Of course, the 4th as well on the A stream, which means that this is 7 and 8, or 7 or 8. BDS currently on a map point. Already eliminated. We'll keep on mentioning it for those of you who are tuning in to try and figure out what's exactly going on if you've not been keeping track exactly. But still trying their best. And those 6 rounds, they spoke for themselves. 2 flaws, 3 plants, 3 entries. 4 entries even on that first half. However, at this very moment in time, Elevate has had a total of 3 entries and 3 round wins as well in their attacking house. So they've definitely stepped it up so far. Let's see if they can keep that up. Let's see if they can continue to undermine BDS, their defense, and assure themselves that they could have that opportunity to bring it all the way back from 6. And as soon as they reach 6-4, it's starting to look a lot more likely that they can. Because then suddenly it's just 2 rounds. After that, it is just 1. And suddenly you're into overtime.
That's it, and that's the drive that Elevate are working towards right now, because they are a team that has this ability to throw themselves in on the attacks, and time again over the past couple of rounds, we've seen them able to get into these positions. They're punishing that sort of downtrodden BDS right now and capitalizing on that little bit of energy, that little bit of momentum and movement that otherwise seems to escape BDS. They're stacked up, and an entry might be that big deciding factor. If BDS can get a little bit of a windfall, suddenly they have something else going in their favor. They're not just set in the mud of things being pulled away from them. They can try and drive behind it. They can at least set themselves up for trades. They don't have to be passive, no, but at the same time, they don't suddenly have to be active, and they're able to kind of pull that activity away by limiting the gunplay Elevate have.
They're in the toilet there. Lem is falling back, but taking a whole lot of damage whilst he does. I think that is actually from the player that was inside the little whiskey bar. Now Sapper as well on that window. Gets healed back up by the Salvation Station. You know, and as I said, I took over the can opener term. I really think we should push on the Salvation Station over to the...
We're using it every single time.
I know, it's just, we just need to make sure that they're taking on, catching onto it. Just resetting it by placing it down and picking it up again. It's smart.
Medic!
Just be careful to not say the Z, otherwise
he responded anyway.
Oh, he did? Oh.
Yeah. The grenades head over the top. Caught out. Renshiro is able to pull himself further away before a second comes through. They're trying to find that prox, and where is it? Where is it? There it is. First place shot, but didn't quite get it fully. Under a minute now, though. Under a minute, and they're going to have their angle set towards Lumber on the far side. Shaiko's still putting a little bit of pressure back against them. Nerek suffers, and they're going to see if they can drive themselves all the way across. Hey, there's a man already in freezer, but he's removed. It's a trade-off, though. The Sapper finds Renshiro in and amongst the mix. Rafal is doing his best to keep a little bit of pressure hot, but it's Shaiko with the pistol from long as Sapper picks up one more. Again, they've been able to make sure that they match their loss with one of their opponents. And Sapper is curious about going up, but he's got the diffuser. That's the risk. Shaiko, he finds Onigiri. He finds the fight across the top. And Sapper is finding a triple. He's still on the board, but it's an ace to clutch the round out and keep Elevate within Kafe and within the realms of getting the full fat 3 points, but only 11 seconds and a knockdown door there. He's not quite going to be able to get the connection. As I said, it might boil it down to the entry, but it's Shaiko that locks it off. BDS, they at least pull a point. As we already know, it is not enough, but it's something.
It is something, that is it. At least they tried. Let's just put it up like that. And they might actually find out in this little halftime here, where they have the opportunity to talk. Maybe Bias was able to catch up with what has happened, what is going on. And Elevate, whereas they might have lost this map, at least they are confirmed for the top 4 for the playoffs. And I don't think they really care that much if you lose the map at this moment in time. Yes, of course, you want to win every game, you want to win every map, just like Demon Kia has done so far. But sometimes you need to take what you got. And that is currently, they have that first map. I think the pressure just flew off their shoulders at that moment in time. And they let it get to them a little bit. They're getting back into it now. They're starting to, you know, perform again, which we'll potentially see on the 3rd map to come through.
That's it. And it's down to one more map for them as their performance here. We'll have a quick break before we're back with our last showdown for BDS in all of SI.